I literally remember, as funny as it is, Gere, oh God, I'm turning 30 na gopola ngwana for my birthday. Oh, bonda le ngwana, o kreke mojisha breakfast in the morning, bare, no, don't play. You'll play when she comes back from school. That evening, I get a formal document from her and her husband. In short, telling me that I am destabilizing my daughter.
Let me introduce to you the new kid on the block. Melba is a new skincare range that recently launched. It is for face and for body. We deal with hyperpigmentation, anti-aging, wrinkles, natural glow. We also deal with dark inner areas. We target dark inner thighs, dark armpits, dark neck, dark elbows, dark knees, you name it. We also have a shaving combo. This shaving combo deals with ingrowns and shaving bumps. Both men and women can use this good quality product shaving range. We've got good actives in our product from glycolic acid, hyaluronic acid, kojic acid, and many more. You can contact us on the WhatsApp number that is popping on the screen, or you can reach out to us on all our social media platforms. We are here for all your skin needs. Hi everyone, welcome to O Narrative Podcast by myself, Promise Makunyane. This podcast, it's about marriage and family dynamics. You know, if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, you need to write to us on the email address that is popping on the screen. Do not forget to put your number, preferably your WhatsApp number, so that we can contact you once we vet your story. Guys, we do have a sister podcast on the very same channel. It's called The Working Wife, The Working Woman Podcast. That particular podcast is about women working, women inspiring each other to work. I always say it is good to have a man do stuff for you, but it's much more better if you can also do stuff for yourself. That podcast, it airs on Sundays at 6 p.m. and this one that you're watching airs every Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Guys, we have another episode today, another installment of our own narrative podcast. A very... You know, I was so confused when I read your story. I was so confused when I read your story. But before we get into it, welcome and thank you for making time.
Thank you so much.
And just tell us who you are. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Melba Mamabolo. I am a mother. I am a newly formed business owner.
Yay, we love it for you.
Yeah, so I'm still getting on my feet, but I am somebody who I love people. I love nurturing, and I think it's one of those things that is part of my gift and my calling, and hence why I do what I do in my business.
Yeah.
But I am one of 7 kids. Yes, and I'm the third one amongst 3 boys and 4 girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. What else? I currently work in retail, so I have a side hustle, as some people would put it.
Yes.
And the retail part is my bread and butter, and I'm still pushing and growing my business called Belly Binding Mama.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to speak about your business as well, right?
Thank you.
So you wrote to us, and part of your message, you said, I'm currently in the middle of a painful and deeply personal custody battle involving my child.
Yes.
My older sister and her husband are refusing to grant me access, and I found myself in a legal fight that I never asked for, but one I must now face for the sake of my child.
Yes.
How does my sister take my child? And I'm in a court because of my sister and her husband and my child. Yeah. Let's backtrack to your pregnancy.
Okay. So, I gave birth in 2018.
The baby's small.
She's 6.
7, 6.
Turning 7 in August.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, her dad and I parted ways while I was still pregnant, so he's never been part of her life. And at the time when I fell pregnant, I was staying abroad and I was working abroad in Dubai.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the laws that side, if usanyala, wela gae.
Okay, when you are pregnant.
Yes. So basically, you can't have extramarital affairs unless you are married and you live with your husband. Oh, wow. Yeah. O ka tsena tronkong.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sure.
So I had to then leave my job and come back home.
So you fell pregnant in Dubai?
Yes, I did.
So your partner is in Dubai?
I don't know what is going on with his life at the moment.
Okay.
But when I was in Dubai, he was also working that side. So I don't know if maybe he moved to another country or if he's back home or if he's still there. I don't know.
He's South African?
No, he's from Rwanda.
Okay, cool.
So then I came back, and coming back, my older sister and her husband welcomed me into their home because I had not established a home or somewhere a place where I could live.
Yeah.
So she said, no, come back home. And at that time, we were on good terms. Like, this is somebody who at some point was my best friend.
Yeah.
You know? And somebody who I truly admired. So inagari fufa.
Ufufe. It's your big sister.
My older sister.
Yeah.
And around that time, she had been having issues with conceiving. And I guess even that welcoming was some type of soothing mechanism for her. But promise, there were moments where this person was emotionally abusive towards me.
Hey, bo.
Like, I remember the one time, I think I was like 7-8 months pregnant. And nebanali like a home sale, you know, but and I was sitting down, and motan level arwasa email. And I'm like, and I had been standing when everybody was standing, and at some point I was tired. Promising that evening, why are you looking at him? So at that point, I'm like, so a part of our relationship was one that would go into toxic moments and we'd come out, but nafonna, because this is somebody who I thought loved me equally and she wouldn't do things to harm me intentionally. I just thought it's sibling rivalry. Yeah. You fight and you make up and you move past it. So fine. August 28th comes, I give birth to Naledi. And she was one of the first people who held her, you know. You understand? And at that time, promise, we had lost our mom in a car accident. So we literally leaned on each other for that soothing and that comfort. Babo. I have my daughter, and at that time there was a lady who was working for her, who had been working for her for years, and she was part of the family.
A helper.
Our sis Q then says, Renaka Sijonganak, only switch for at least 3 months, right? Talk.
Okay.
So, Lina, I've got a person on the side, but I'm going to sacrifice going to him for the sake of energy young one.
Okay.
So it was something we agreed on. So,
right, talk, meaning
like,
we are not being sexually active.
We are not being sexually active. We're not entertaining or interacting with outside people like we normally would.
Yeah.
Fine. Literally like a month into my postpartum motor, baby. So I said to her, Mama, we spoke. And
this is the helper.
Yeah. Like, we were close. She was literally family.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, not a problem. But we spoke, and the arrangement was. So now I'm just gonna ask her li thabe. Aw, bova. Tsana kamreng arwatel. Who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah.
No. But we all spoke.
Like one.
All I was saying is, based on that conversation we had, let us also maintain it. So how, and I didn't say she mustn't go. I would never say that. But I'm asking that, can we please respect what we had put in place, the plan? The next day, nobody was helping me. I have stitches. I have a infant, ganyancha.
It's your first child?
My first child. And after I had 3 miscarriages.
No.
So I'm sitting there like, my sister, the help. But did you get dining room? But what's talking? Life is continuing. Nobody's helping me with food like they normally do. So of course, then, okay, kurauri, something has changed.
Yes.
I get up, I help myself. The whole day, like I'm ring. At some point, she comes into the room. Ore, ke kgopela ngwana. Ke re ke sa raloka lo ngwana. Not even 10, 15 minutes. O phone our older brother.
Yeah.
And she says to him, I'm not going to be made to feel like a second-class citizen in my house. And so our older brother, because and when every time you do this.
Yeah.
That afternoon, my brother drove from Rustenburg, came to fetch me, an infant, literally.
Traveling provinces.
And that time my brother is married, Liana. He's got his own kids and his own family. When he arrived, Batu, they had driven out Batamail. They didn't want to meet because there probably would have been an altercation of sorts. I lived with my brother for a few months, and then our grandmother, so in between those 2 years, I was relying on family support because no was even if Kichwa market, I was unlucky.
Yeah.
And after 2 years, kilo twasa.
Okay. Did you always know your whole life that on this year you're going to twasa? How do you get to the twasa part?
So how we got to the twasaring part was through consult, through dreams, through random people saying, hey, Lawena, and we got to that place. So, so we get to that place, and on this particular day where it was literally stamped or
yeah,
I had actually taken somebody else or I lost
okay,
and as a result the focus then was on me. And Barry, they've been very patient. And to be honest with you, my Gobela had said, Mutswaka, ke mutswadi chiwana. So if it means
can come.
Because you have to do what you have to do. And as a parent, you make sacrifices. And you're like, I want better for my child, so I must make a plan because the initial person who I had wanted to take care of my child couldn't at that moment because she was also going through some stuff.
Can we please have tissues?
And as a result, I then went to my older sister. Because at that time, her husband didn't have kids.
What is making you emotional in this part of the conversation as we're waiting for the tea?
It is the sacrifice that I feel influenced this entire situation. Because had I not gone, Kilo Twas, then I would have been with my child. Because I literally was with my child 24/7 every single day.
You're not even working.
I wasn't even working. That baby was my everything. And even in the moments of separation where we finally got to a place where we said, okay, this is the day. Weaning her off was difficult. And that little girl had to literally plunge into a different situation because Lena Matsoaka Nale tied. So I remember I called her and I said, Nana, I need help. We've been putting this thing off and I think we found the right person to do what they need to do for
Nana
me.
Kiman, your older sister.
Ke bolela le yena, my older sister, about the baby. So she says, don't worry, I've got you. And if we were to backtrack, the first time when I was told Chikilo twas, she said to me, I don't think I'll be able to help you because I get back and it's going to be difficult for me to give you the child back.
Okay.
And I understood. And she said, would you be willing to allow me to adopt Ngwana? I said, no. I said, give circumstance. So it's not possible. So fast forward, Naledi is 1.5 going on 2. Her and her husband had an apartment they had to fix in Kempton Park that they were going to sell. And they said, no, because we're coming down, and then relate one. So that happens. So now, lifetlong bare, it's difficult, the situation because so for the next 3 months, try and avoid, rather talk to your child through your sister, or ngwana, aska kwa botlhoko. So promising after that 3 months when I phoned ngwana, you bona ngwana go mo phone a o lebeletse. And you're just like, is this worth it? Because that's my baby. I literally remember, as funny as it is, oh God, I'm turning 30 na for my birthday. And I gave birth. So we fast forward. I'm getting pictures, I'm getting videos, I'm getting the report. You know, at least Lina can afford the issue.
Feeling better.
Just promise it. I think I've graduated to a song almost 2 years.
Yeah.
By the time Gitlojo, my sister Beler.
Okay.
And at that time, I said to her, Nana, do you think you're going to be fine? And she said to me, you and I are going to fight.
Hey, boo.
And I said, but I don't want to fight you. Why would you? She says, yeah. And I said to her, it's not like I'm going to come and snatch one. You know? Everybody will have an opportunity to wean themselves
gradually.
off. Because in the same way as the baby climatized to come live with you, it will have to be the same thing in returning her. So now here we are. The pictures stop coming. The reports stop coming. Just promise the next thing I get a call, 2024, early in the year. I want us to have a conversation. No, 2023.
Yeah.
I want us to have a conversation. And I said, what? She said, no, it needs us to sit down, and have girl talk. And I said, girl, we come from the same bloodline. You can't just drop something. So, talk to me.
That's your sister.
Yeah. And talk to me. And she says to me, Ngwana has been asking why her surname is different. And I said, but tell my child the truth. That has always been my stance. Tell Ngwana the truth. Let's stop undermining intelligence, capacity to understand certain things.
Yeah. That time she has her own child.
Yes, she has her own child. And she says, because, and she's, yeah. And then she says, another thing was that we wanted to check if we can adopt Ngwana. And I said, no. It's not.
You can't.
Ngwana asisieta, arichenjisane.
And Futi, you are sisters. How can my sister adopt? This is as good as your child. Why do we need?
Well, understand. And I said, no. The conversation had always been when I get on my feet.
Yeah.
And even in cases where sis promised, I'd said to her, I want to help contribute. Motinara Nana, you're not making enough. Tjhelete ya gago, do what you can for yourself to get back on your feet. Enka o botsa hore, in the legal document that they filed to the court, my inadequacy of providing for my child was cited in there.
And I want to prove vele ya gore no support ngwana.
Ne ke sa ntse because ne ke re ke a ntšha, motho a re,
And this is
Nana
your
ke-
sister.
Nana ke tlhokomela, I've got this. And this is somebody who is a big shot exec at one of the top banks.
Oh no.
I understand, her husband is doing well. So now you want to belittle me. You understand? I said, no. She went and had a conversation with our dad and said, "Kgopolo bolele Melba, she's being indifferent about me adopting one." And my dad said, "Ntho e nyaka nga e kgonega."
When?
Come. My dad said, "It's not possible."
I kgonere.
So now we fast forward. We are now in the brink.
Where are you now that time?
I'm
are
living
you,
in her apartment
Yeah.
in Midrand.
yeah, you are out of Lefetlo.
I'm out of Lefetlo. After ke tswa Lefetlong ka May, I got a job in December
Okay.
in retail in a different company than what I'm working at now. And I worked there. And that's what she said, "Nana, this is your take home. Take care of yourself, because when you're done with what you need, you literally have nothing else to give.
Yeah.
And it's not like we can't manage. We are managing fine. So do what you can for yourself." So like I get, and I'm taken care of. And this promise, it was hard. It was hard. You know, from coming from the salary that I was making in Dubai to, it was hard. And even in staying in the apartment that she owned, we were still required to pay rent, even though she had said it's a family apartment. Anybody tlhokang boroko, ke bo boroko.
Yes.
You know? So come July, August of last year, she says,
Before we get to last year,
"Yes, ma'am.
you are ko Lefetlong. Lefetlong, they don't allow you guys to go home or for people to visit.
These people are in KZN.
Oh, okay.
Lefetlo la ka ne le le Pankop.
Okay. ke Limpopo.
Pankop is when you get to Hammanskraal and you drive another 30
Okay.
minutes out.
Okay. So you were that far.
I was that
So
far.
they were not coming at all. When you went out and you went to her apartment in Kempton Park, were you not?
So Kempton Park was the apartment, her husband that they
Yes.
sold.
Yeah.
She had an apartment in Midrand. That's where I was living.
So when you were in Midrand, were you not visiting the child in KZN?
I started visiting. I got the job in December. The first visit was in August after Kejwale Fete.
Okay.
And I was there for like a week until Moto Ari.
How old there your child? Like you're seeing your child for the first time after many years?
When she actually had called me, "Are ngwana wa lwala re mo isa sepetlele."
Oh no.
And I said, "What is going on?" And only we found out that there's certain allergies that she has. And more those allergies, because we were not aware of them, they were creating and building up poison in her system.
Oh no.
And so by the time they took her into hospital, Nilin told her, basically she was collapsing. So then she phoned me and I got onto the bus that evening and I was in KZN by like 5 a.m.
Okay.
Ngwana mpona, yula bona go makala, but knowing that this is home. Yeah. Stayed there, ngwana ba discharge you, and they said, no, they're going to have to do an operation, bunch of the tonsils, ba molokela di grommets, ka mo di tsebeng.
Okay.
And at that time, my sister didn't have a help, or the lady had just resigned or had left, but there wasn't any. I said, you know what? Because I don't have a job right now, erikishale until ukrea
More.
It was yes until the next day. The next day, okay, are because you're interfering ka routine. For somebody who hadn't seen Wana in the last 2 years, and to be there in that situation, and then for you to want to intentionally separate, you're in a little talk. But motho a sa o nyake ka motseng wa gagwe ga o nyake. So fine, I got onto the bus the next day and I left. And note, during this entire process, it's like everybody is not considering how leaving my child feels.
Yeah.
Everybody is not considering what it does to my own child. So I leave, and the arrangement is no, when they give us a date for the op, then you can come back. Okay, they bring us a date. I think it was around September, October. I travel for a few days, and she has the op, and then I leave. Come December, I get a job and I start working. Now, retail hours are crazy, and I worked in a busy mall.
Yeah.
So with things like leave, you'd have to tell me in advance so I can book those days. Off days, same thing. There's a system. People now get accustomed to telling me something today and it's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
And people no longer answer the phone. I could go weeks without talking to my child.
Okay.
They can travel and not tell me where they are taking my child. I don't get reports. I ask for pictures. And you're like, wow. So we then have Naledi's birthday.
Naledi's your daughter.
Is my daughter. We have her birthday, and she had initially told me, no, this kind of cake. And I said, okay, I'll give you half for it this month, and the next month, get the other half. She said, no problem. I send her the half. The next month, they get grandma the other half, or no, don't worry, we've got this. Get okay. I let it go. I travel. Ke party, romanate. But you love about to oral kalongwana. Ba go lebella ka leihlo le lengwe. O bonda le ngwana, and o bonda le ngwana o kreke mojisha breakfast in the morning, bare no, don't play. You'll play when she comes back from school. And you would swear, promise, or people got a kick, or there was a little dance the heart did when they saw me cry.
This situation is just so, like, it's so different and so difficult because this is your blood sister.
Yeah. Unyanchan share. This is, we share the same mom, the same dad. I don't have a step anywhere in between.
We're not in the same breath, and maybe because we've never been in that situation, I would assume, like, I'm just gonna live with my child.
And this is promise. You know, if I tell you the reason why we're in this position, was because Kirle discussing a routine where we can transition one. The intention was over a period of a year. An acknowledgement of you have a child who has created a relationship with my child.
Sure.
They are best friends.
Oh my gosh.
And you have allowed me the privilege of taking care of my child.
Yeah.
And you have created a bond. And I acknowledge that.
Yes.
And in also shielding my child from any type of detachment or trauma. That is why I said, let us talk about a transition.
Yeah.
His promise, her response was, Eric and the exam. But this conversation is one that can't be had over WhatsApp. Let us have the right audience and then we'll take it forward. No problem. I'm okay with that. The exam, and then when you're done, please come back to me.
And I'm not fighting, so...
Again, I do not have a bone to fight. But in this situation, where I've had to step out of myself and literally shake off any trauma that I have experienced and say, come hell or high water, this is my child and I'm bringing her home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if I tell you this promise, 2 weeks went past. And the one morning, and I'm like, I want my baby. I want my baby. Like, No.
Yeah.
I sent her, hi, Nana, when do schools close? School holidays, what are the plans? And Ilabana Motu is giving you the one-word answers.
Yeah.
And then when I ask, okay, what are the plans? Motu picks up the phone and calls me. Our phone, this is the call that literally changed everything. Our phone, Unyakang, why are you asking me a million questions? I said, what do you mean? My child is in your care. And the questions, I'm not asking if you're going to jump over the moon tomorrow, or I'm asking what the plans are. Maybe I also want to travel and come. Let me know when you want to travel and I'll decide.
Ooh.
Yo. I said, excuse me? Is it so difficult? I literally had no words. Yeah. And she says to me, Melba, go and adjust your attitude and call me back. And she hangs up on me.
Ooh.
That evening, I get a formal document from her and her husband. In short, telling me that I am destabilizing my daughter and that I must step back. And in my head, I was shocked because how is it possible? Because knowing you, if you had somebody do what you're doing to me, hell would freeze over. So how do you think that it's okay for you to do to me or do me like this? Kept quiet. I responded back. And in my response, I basically said, okay, Lira, I'm destabilizing one. I need you to explain how. Because the last visit, Naledi was crying in the morning. And I'm in the room because they had said, because we have a new auntie. Don't bathe Naledi.
Yeah.
So that Naledi, I said, no problem.
You understand?
I understand.
Yeah.
And I even explained to Naledi self, and Andy's going to bath you. Okay, fine, sharp. Wana starts crying. Wana starts crying, says, promise it, to a point where I'm like, I tried to sit on my hands and I said, no, God, I can't. Because at some point, when you become a parent, you realize that your kids inherently pull out the traumas that you had not dealt with.
Yes.
And it forces you to then go and look and fix those things within yourself so that we don't have the cycle repeat. And, you know, when you then think of your own history and you're like, I'm going to have to be strong and look outside myself and be a mother. I went, Melba, don't do that.
Your sister.
Don't do that. You are osnya routine. You are messing up the routine. I said, wait, she still has her by the hand. And I'm wait. We're going to the room. One tibel, ila bana mthola mpona au lebella ngare o shoka ntho idia.
Yeah.
Ke tja ngwana ka kamoreng ke gomotsa ngwana. I gave her a glass of water. Karnana, we have to get ready for school. I remember, but I wanted you to wash me, to bath me. But I needed you to get used to auntie. I get it's the routine because mommy is only here for a few days. And then I'm going to go back to Joburg. And she says, yeah, but, you know?
You're here, but
you're here, you know? So then wana ramoja, wapara, they get into the car. Phew, she's even forgotten about her little episode. I think it's best you sleep in the guest room.
You sleep with your child?
I sleep with my child. in the same bed, and it was the first night. What do you mean? Kijeri leafy, and I traveled all this distance to come and spend time with my child. So how are you asking me to sleep in a different room? Well, but if if you had if you were putting Wanagago to sleep, you would have taken my child also and put her also to sleep.
Competition, but no.
But also, why do you want to create a comparison? As a mother, why must my child not have the same benefit, and why must it come with lip service? My child anyanya. I don't understand that. And on other occasions when I had come to visit, you would give me your child and say, "Yo, I'm feeling tired," and I would sleep with your baby. Warm up a bottle and feed, and she'd sleep. And in the morning when you were refreshed and ready, you would come and fetch her.
And this is for all the years that she did that for you.
You understand? And naturally, sometimes, and especially with us Black people, we come from such toxic backgrounds where you find aunts and sisters don't get along. That when you have a moment to do something different, and deep down, we all want a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might not know how to ask for it or how to behave in a way that calls for it. And even the most toxic of people want some form of warmth, And so I'm like, your baby's my baby. So I don't understand why you create a competition or a rift where it's not necessary. So okay, fine. Then that evening I said, I'll put my child to sleep. And then once she's fallen asleep, I'll go to the guest room. And the only reason why I actually went back to sleeping with Naledi in the same room was because her husband's younger brother came to visit and he had to use the guest room. And that was the only way. But the days went past and I then left.
Yeah.
Now, let's backtrack to the letter.
Okay, yes.
Yes. So the letter came, I responded back to her. You know her response to my letter? She said, come and get her. I'm done sacrificing myself for you. Or you changed your mind.
Okay.
And nowhere was there ever a solid, concrete, final No, why would I give you my baby? Why would I give you my only child? When you also have your own? It says, promise, there was a letter I got from them.
Yeah.
And in the same week, I got a letter from a lawyer.
When she said, come and get your child, what did you do?
I said to her, okay, sorted, I'm working on it. Hoplon romele immunization boko, birth certificate, kinyake school.
Okay.
When I sent that, I think it was on a Wednesday, and about the next day or 2 days after, I got a letter from a lawyer. And the lawyer, I need to prove myself worthy.
Of your own child.
Of my own child.
Halala.
I need to prove that I am capable of taking care of my child. This lady, your client is not being truthful. I asked for a transition. I asked for a conversation. Had they entertained a conversation, we would not be here. Had you been brought in to mediate so that everybody gets a piece of the cake, we would not be in this position. And if Negilimzia, I would have arrived, but I was considering everybody's emotions in there. Most of all, the children. We can go to therapy and deal with whatever, if that's what it is, but the kids. Because for now, I'm not trying to have a situation where my child in her teens start becoming a rebel because of this situation. I'm trying to avoid that because we've seen it with other people and I'm just not for it. I respond to the lawyer, here's the conversation that I've been having with your client. Our lawyer, her client is justified in her actions. If that's how you feel, proceed as you need to, and I'm going to do the same because this is nonsense. His promising, in the brink of December, the court did motho a file an urgent
application. Wow.
to the High Court.
Yes.
Yeah. Not even a magistrate or
Straight.
High Court.
Tšhelete le kae?
So at this point, I rely on Baholo. And at this point, my dad was saying, no, get your phone, get your DSO, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Says, promise it on the date of the hearing.
What are you guys hearing? What does the document say?
The document basically says that they're saying that I was never in a relationship with my daughter's dad.
Okay.
That I am unstable because I've been moving or house hopping from one place to another. They're saying that I was financially dependent on people.
Okay.
Basically, the instability part is what they are playing on, because in the same document they cited they are doing much better. This is the positions they are working in, that they've got a house, they are paying a bond, one is on medical aid, she goes to the best school, X, Y, and Z. And yes, I was unemployed. Who was supposed to sustain me outside of the very people who are my intimate community, which is my family? So when you took moments where I was most vulnerable, and you have been actually filing them.
Sure.
Actually, because who does that? Who does that?
If life is like that, that means we can as siblings because we do everything for each other.
So at this point, literally, I don't know motho a emelang in my family except for my younger brother.
Your dad?
My dad, nothing.
Why though?
My dad, I remember I said to him, how are you not doing anything? And he said to me, your sister will fight me.
Oh, I hear.
Gibova. She doesn't care for people's emotions. And I remember I'd phoned my aunt, who's my dad's younger sister. And she's also like a mom. Yo, this promise college. Yo, I remember and I remember this colleague of mine. Yo, she literally held me. And I felt like
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at that moment, I needed people to stand up for me because I did not have the energy or the strength. I needed somebody to be in my corner because they know this very person. And people have had incidences where they fought with her and so for nobody to come to my aid when they know who she is, for me, was a very painful realization.
That I'm alone.
Yeah. And I remember I told my dad that one time he sends me a message and he says, I miss you. And I said, you can't tell me that. And I don't even have the heart to receive it. Kichuana.
Yeah.
I've got family and people who are related to me by blood, but I technically have nobody. And this is what this experience has taught me. And to some extent, I was like,
do you want water?
Yes, please. And as crazy as it might sound, I feel like God also needed to isolate me.
Yeah. Even when you went to Lepetong?
No, even at this whole situation that I led, because I am such a softie, promise you that I'm the kind of person who walks away from things. But this one, young Kosa.
Yeah, of course.
There is absolutely no way.
There's nobody fit to fight this than yourself.
And I ran my dad and I said, I am so angry that Buliak wants to denounce my surname.
Ooh.
And I told my younger brother this. And he said, Mama, I need you to be strong because you can't want to denounce the very people who actually have you because of the few people who don't see and don't want to call out something that is wrong.
Yeah.
So
You go to hearing.
I then go and I seek legal aid and I ask for help. And I remember one of the most painful things that my stepmom said to me. She said to me, "Ngwana ka kgatla pelo ka leswika."
Yeah.
And I said, "Mama, e kgonege." This person and her husband literally have their feet on my neck. I can't do anything for my child. I can't embrace her without having somebody say, "O senya ngwana." I remember my dad's, I think it was his 60th birthday. Kipe puchu ngwana. And my sister's husband was like, "Hey, bia ngwana fast. Liena le bola bia ngwana fast. O senyetsa ngwana." And I'm like,
Sure.
nna ngwana ka o nyanyaneng.
Yeah. Ukwela mare mo
O
mareneng.
kwela mare o neng. When you, ene, ke senya ngwana mang. And you know, there are so many things that have happened and so many information that's even come to me that is so painful. Ulokwa batho ba o founela ba re se se ya go senya ngwana. Re mo kwa botsa ngwana re you're a useless mom because our phone. That time says promise I can show you my WhatsApp. I can go. Like they can go on vacation and not tell me where my child is. I remember ka December, ngwana a re, "Mama, tomorrow I'm going away." And ba re mo re yang a gona di phone that are allowed. So ke tlo bolela le wena when I come back. Di sha ngwana ka kae? Sis promise I was not able to talk to ngwana for a few days. Ke ntse ke phone. You la bona o romela batho o re a o ba lena.
Ngwana o kae?
Ba romele a video ya ngwana le ka ra swimming pool and you're like, then why would you tell ngwana gore di phone are go allowed? And God would just promise there are people who spend more time with my child. They will travel to their friends' homes. But yet now ngwana can't even travel to spend time with me. In their application, they want sole parental rights. Kama ba ka mafeng.
Kure, you know what? If you are a lawyer somewhere, please comment in the comment section because I don't understand.
And they are using the power of money. You labana okwa bare ngwana o ba botšishitše a re, "Who's my real mom?" Mama go la ngwana a re, "Ke nna mmago." Why would you that question? A re, because my cousin said that my real mom ke Melba. Enka o botša gore the mother or the cousin got a call and ba re le go yena ngwana go a ska bua.
Ooh.
And that time, this little girl and a lady are close. Close. This little girl was a little girl who they said, "No, re tlo misha skolong. Re tlo misha skolong. So she'll come and stay with us." It never happened because of that question a lady asked.
Kani, why does it seem like they are just collecting people's kids? So even the cousin was going to stay with them to Bamuise Skolo, and then it's your child, and then now it's their child. Okay.
So I wanna, the question you're asking would be one that we'd probably have to now get the therapist and the psychologist involved because there's only a chemical imbalance because it's just not possible. It's just not possible.
Is there no reason? I don't know. Because such things, they don't happen in our culture. Like, there is no way my sister... I remember there was a situation like this close to me.
it didn't even get anywhere. Like a sister was taking care of another sister's child, and then from there, now she wanted to legally adopt the child, and they are siblings, you know. And the parents were like, "Ke mhlolo ntho o e bolelang." Like, ke wa hlola, actually, you know. There's nothing like that. If you want to take care of your sister's child, just take care of her, you know. And life goes on. That's just how it's supposed to be.
So now in this case, unyech. So nyako just tlogolo sa dikolobe o se fe.
Kana, she wanted to change the surname as well, you say?
Yes.
The husband doing, have you ever had a conversation
The
with the
husband
husband?
is as sassy as she is.
Oh my gosh.
You love batho ba tšea an opportunity ya go kusha botlhoko ka ngwana. Maloba moki. So they got a social worker involved. And oh dear, 1+1 social worker it's even without a qualification.
Okay.
Wena o le motho.
Okay.
Wa bona hore wena se sunya go ntsamaya ka fasa. Some of the things in the way you're moving, it's not possible. And I remember one of the first things that I asked was that gopela o nyakele an alternative form of communication.
Yeah.
Gore ke kgone ho bolela ngwana ka freely. Sis promise you bona only video calling lo ngwana re nya go rala ka motsara bo because ba nya go kwa re ke reng.
Oh my gosh.
On one occasion, when this whole situation started, I remember ke botsa ngwana ke re yo Nana, I miss you. I hope I can't wait to utlong ketela. And ngwana quoted a line from the legal document they submitted. Mama, if unyo kompona, it's best utle moki. Gary, it's not possible. How is it possible that a 6-year-old can cite
What is
word for word what is in a legal document?
When you guys went for hearing, what did the court say?
So basically, when they submitted the interdict, I was given less than 48 hours to respond.
Yes.
Because nearly an urgent application. The hearing was on a Monday. I submitted my documents on a Sunday, but the registrar refused to receive it, but it's a late. But I submitted late.
Okay.
Even when I asked for condemnation.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So I'm assuming that based on them not taking in my affidavit, they approved a temporary interdict or in a court order until the social worker does her investigations. So the report go on by the feature the advocate of the family court or and then the court will then give us another date to make their final decision. So when the social worker first came on board, I asked for another form of communication because I only speak to my child through my sister or her husband. The husband never really picks up any of my calls. So I only have this particular individual to speak to my child through. One on our tablet, no more blue tick. I asked the social worker. The social worker didn't respond to me until maybe like a few weeks after. And then when she responds, my advisor that we leave things the way they are. Okay. And I said, I need you to understand that I'm in a very vulnerable position where you are also allowing for me to have restricted communication. I get star. I get I get to be drugs. I am not I get and no institution has ever proven that I'm unstable and I'm a risk to my child. And why do all of these things now pop up? Transition. Because if they were really an issue, knowing who my sister is, they would have filed a long time ago. But by Emela until for them to go and do this. So you're in essence saying that my child Liena, Oshapu Asanana, and I don't think that is okay. You understand? Because but what about my child?
The child itself, yeah.
You are depriving my child of the very essence of her being. You cannot mention my child's existence and eliminate me. I gave birth to that girl.
Yeah.
And no matter the amount of money that you have or you might want to pay, there is maro. And unfortunately, you then realize, or really basadi, you can give birth to a baby, but it doesn't make you a mother. I had to realize that is the possibility ka my sister. Ona lingwana because o mosadi. Because there's absolutely no way that wena, as a mother, you cannot feel the kind of pain, especially also with the track record of the loss that you've also experienced. We've also lost a mom.
Yeah.
So I could say begin. And even when I reached out to her and I said, "Hopela o mpotse gore go dirileng ke kgone go kgopela tshwarelo." Because nothing makes sense that my child should experience what she's going through. And how you and your husband think it makes sense for you to restrict my child of having a bond with her own mother. If the courts tomorrow were to say, "Arutje wa go ngwana," o ka gafa. So why are you doing it to me? Which then, for me, says, you really hate me. I can accept that. I can accept that. But there's no way you can hate me and love my child. And for that reason, it is one of the reasons why I said, you know what? Let me step outside myself.
Yeah.
Ke kgopele help.
And
From
that's
the
why
public.
you are here.
And that is one of the reasons why I'm here. Ke kgopele thusho, because I would not live with myself knowing that I didn't do everything. Because the advantage they have, ke tjhelete. And unfortunately, we live in a country where money can make things happen. So in order for me to at least have leverage outside of and not take a risk,
Yeah.
I have to do this. Because money can't silence.
Yeah.
Money can't allow you to abuse and try and take people's privileges. You can't. It's not okay.
So right now you are appealing to the public with your story saying that help me
Yes.
financially so that you can be able to pay for your legal fees.
Yes.
And what business did you start? What campaign? You spoke of a campaign. Let's speak about that.
So the campaign I started the business I'm in is Belly Binding Mama.
Okay.
Belly Binding Mama is a business that takes care of women.
Okay.
Especially women who have had kids. And it's so funny how it actually came about. It's an idea or a concept that I had been sitting on.
Yeah.
And after this whole legal situation came about, I think for me, my mother was a midwife.
Oh, wow.
And I think this was a way of her saying, I'm with you. Because I had tried other business ventures, nothing would work.
Yeah.
Nenka dula le stock for a whole year. And I remember I took my last 900 rand.
Yeah.
And I told my friend at that time, get just help that transport. I am miracle. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to sell these things before the end of the week. And
Yeah.
I come,
Purpose in pain.
I swear. And I said, I'm going to use this. So I then said, let's create a limited edition belly binder.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it the Naledi binder. And every single proceed that goes from this belly binder
Yeah.
is going to go into paying off the legal fees. And in a world where people are used to handouts and people want an exchange for nothing, I said, no, please buy the binder.
Yeah.
At least that way, even when you wrap yourself with it, there's symbolism.
Yeah.
It is a way of anybody who buys the binder holding my hand. Because when you wrap your stomach area, there's a healing and comfort that the binders give. And it's the kind of healing that I once said, it's like a mother energy. When we all go through some form of depression or when we go through postpartum, we want to have our mothers with us. And unfortunately, in my case, I didn't have mama. And the person who was supposed to fit that role was her, but things have turned. And through belly binding mama, through the naledi binder, I'm bringing my child home.
Oh. Hey,
I'm
mosadi
bringing-
o kore aka tsola a kitima skontini
Yo,
ka ngwana ga
yo,
aka tsamaya ka lepona.
Come.
Guys, let's check the belly binding mama. Oh, such a nice packaging. Ooh.
Thank you.
You know the logo, cute. Is it, if I buy it, does it come like this?
Yes, it does.
How much is it?
It's $6.50.
I'm going to
And it
buy for
includes-
one mama that is watching. I'm going to buy this one for one mother that is watching. And we're going to send it to you. Whoever that you are, we're going to see. Does it come with this? What is this?
So that is a bath salt. It's a
Okay.
gift from me to every mama who buys the belly binder.
Nice.
So it's a bath salt. Put
So
it,
get about it.
not necessarily so. It is made popular for basadi ba ba fetša go kry-a bana.
You see, so this is what.
That is a modern version of it.
Gosh.
A pain-free version of
Got
it.
you. Hey, hey. We still got me cover because we didn't claim.
Ish.
Oh, nice. So you're gonna they wrap it around
Yes.
the tummy area, and it's
Yes.
so comforting.
Yes.
The material is so nice.
It's breathable, and
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about belly binding, mama, is that the fabrics provide you room to breathe. So you get to determine how comfortable you want it.
Okay.
Because I believe postpartum is not supposed to be painful. There's so many things that you are focusing on, including your mental and emotional state. The last thing you need is something that makes you feel uncomfortable and
Yeah.
restricted.
And dilo tse re di rekang tse di what they make us. Ba re di a re pincha. That's why we don't
Yeah.
even put them on.
Exactly.
This is so comfortable. Like it feels so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So your page, you've got. Is there somewhere where you are binding it on your page where
Yes.
people can see? So
Yes.
we'll leave your socials here
Thank
so that people can go and watch.
Thank you.
And this is for one special mama watching this who had just given birth. And ba lla ka mokhaba.
Yo, and ba lla ka ona.
Oh.
Ba lla ka ona, Chef.
Yeah.
I swear. But also the beautiful thing about, the belly binders is
Yeah.
that it's not just for women who have had kids,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of women who also struggle with the period pain and back-related issues. Whether you've had a C-section or have given birth naturally, it's also something that you can use. There are other moms who prefer to use it as just a stomach toner. And you can use it as a stomach toner. I just recommend that you make a few adjustments here and there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a beautiful product. And for the cause for that one is
Yeah.
even one that is very close to my heart.
So please take the email address and reach out to us if you are a mama. You're going to speak to my assistant and we'll send this to you. Thank you so much. Oh, mommy, your story, it's just so painful. Mostly because we hear that between baby daddy, baby mama, husband, wife. It's always that. Yours is
Yeah.
like sister, you
Yeah.
know. I don't know if you were on social media when Auskoki, there was this woman who the ex-husband, took the kids, or it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Didn't see it. I've done a round table around it. She's been alienated from her children, and I've sat with another woman. I'll send you her page actually.
Yeah.
Her daughter as well, has been taken, but by the baby daddy and the baby daddy's mother. They're in KZN and she's here. Now she's like, you know what? I'm continuing with she has the child I think is 14 or so, So it's such stories that I'm like, wow, things are happening out there. And I'm so glad that I host such conversations.
Yeah. It's, every person that I've come across and somehow a conversation has led to this topic has been like, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started seeking legal counsel, I went to legal aid.
Yeah.
And there was this Indian lady called the Jamestown branch. She said to me that I abandoned my child. What do I think? There's no way I'm going to win this. And I said, nowhere did I think that asking my sister to help me with my child would be me selling off my child.
Off your child.
And if people were indeed truly also considering what's best for one. They understand the importance of how children need their parents. And the unfortunate thing for, I think, my sister and her husband is that before they had their own child, they were trying to heal themselves by using my daughter because there was no baby in that house.
Yeah.
And
Which was kind of okay-ish.
you know, I thought that it would have come as a form of a break because she's been through a lot in terms of fertility and conception. And even her friends and people around them were like, how we thought things would get better when they had their own baby,
Their own.
but she's not letting go. And my thing is, the way you are moving is destroying what was left. Because when my child comes back, I won't feel comfortable with her going to your house.
What do you think? Do you think that she's going to mistreat her, or do you think that she'll never come back?
It's not even a matter of mistreating. I think it would be mostly on me and the trauma that this situation has put on me. And me also wanting to make up for lost time and wanting to have the space and the freedom to bond with my child and enjoying those moments without having somebody literally micromanage and saying, no, don't laugh like that. Don't hold the baby. Don't cuddle. Don't tell the baby you miss her. I mean, that incident where I said when Naledi was reciting what was in the legal document, you know, mutu jere phone go ngwana. And ubona ngwana ntse a lebella, sis promise it's painful. Ubona ngwana a intimidate you. And ngwana not being themselves. You know?
Are you now, it's part of your worry now, the fact that Hadula sharp?
That is part of my worry. Gore, you think you're doing what is best for ngwana, but ogobatsa ngwanaka. Because of whatever it is that you hold against me. Because you're not even willing to talk to me about it.
In closing, if you and your sister were okay, like if you guys were okay, she took care of the child, what would be the best setup for you guys? Would you say, sister, you know what, I'm still, even now, still trying to put one-on-one together, stay with my child, and we are sisters, like open relationship, the child comes, and would you be okay with that if things were like totally okay?
You know, I probably would have opted for Ngwana coming back to stay with me. And in my struggles or where they think they want a certain standard maintained still, that they say, hey, girl, Ngwana will come to us at the holiday. You know, because as promised, I don't get the Mother's Day phone calls. I don't get the happy birthdays. I'm the one who has to call if I want to talk to my child. They don't encourage communication from their end to me.
Sure.
And yet they say that my calls are sporadic.
Oh.
And now I think she's deleted me on one of her lines.
Okay.
So, and they've probably archived because I send the text every day to confirm a time for a call.
Okay.
Because I get emotional every time I pick up the phone, to get hold of someone. The last attempt, her husband said to me, well, go think about what you want with the phone back, and hang up on me. And less than a few seconds later, Ban Romela, a one-time view picture of my child. One-time view picture of my child. And this is people who don't send me pictures. When they send a picture, that's how rare it is.
One time.
Do
you feel punished?
Sure. And it's things like that, and that's why I opt for, let me send a text, but
so that they can call.
It's been 3 days. Kromela text, unread. Today, you'll go Romela another one. They'll probably not respond.
No.
So in that instance, what are you saying to my child? Ngwana, when I last spoke to her, I think it was on Friday. I think 2 days before, she had said, Mama, schools are closing. Am I going to see you?
Yeah.
Ilabana when you don't know what is the right or the wrong answer to give because bova shile ka mo
And
morago.
also, you don't want to say, no, they won't allow me, because you also
Yeah.
don't want to contribute in
You know,
confusing your
and
child.
yes, and also visitations are restricted to them. How do you want me to go to the house of my abuser and see my child there
Freely.
freely? It's not possible. At some point, and the way this thing is just so entangled, I feared for my life.
Sure.
I did. Because there was this one time where she and my older brother pitched unannounced at my place of work. Negili off on that day. And to date, she hasn't even sent a text to say nebanyakang. And you and I don't talk. When, and you live in KZN. So it is things like that that I just can't sit and...
Yeah. But I know our audience, they've helped people before, and I'm just glad and proud of your bravery, you know, your courage, especially if you're saying that you are against big shots. You know, it's really just some message public against such people, you know. I've said with women here who were married to powerful people that after they left here, they were taken to courts. We were also dragged in courts because how dare you, you know. But life does not work like that. Everybody deserves a platform, and they deserve to say their side of the story just as much as even they are welcome to come and say their own narrative.
Yeah.
We are really just a platform, but I'm proud of you as a mother. That's why I'm like, you're playing games. There's no woman that is going to just sleep in J. You know, so whether there should be no rest for anybody until, you know. But otherwise, in that camera, because such a podcast, you are also documenting for your daughter.
Yeah.
You know, she will see, she will know,
Yeah.
you know. So in closing, in that camera, this is your camera, send a message to your girl that whether she's going to hear about it now, 5 years to come, when she's a mother one day, she will always come to this. This is a lifetime message from mama to her little girl.
Yeah.
Excuse.
Nana, mama is coming to get you. That's all. I'm not going to stop. And if I have it my way, it's going to happen before the end of the year. Yeah. There is no amount of money that I will not be able to get to bring you back home, because no amount of money is going to silence you or separate you from me. And until then, I just continue to pray that you stay strong. And until then, never doubt the love I have for you. I prayed for you and God delivered. And I went back to him and I said, the same way you're able to answer that prayer, you're going to answer this one. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Yeah. Tooth and nail to the very end.
Yeah. Sure. I've got a daughter that was born in 2019. I'm just imagining it's the same age. Like, I'm just like...
Yeah.
Otherwise, Mommy, can we leave your banking details for those that don't necessarily need the stuff? We're going to link your banking details here. Guys, please, let's help her, you know, to just get her daughter. This is her child, man. You know,
my baby.
Hi, Bo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll leave her banking details, whatever amount, however much you have. Please, if you want to buy these things for somebody else, if you just want to buy, let's just pump up this woman with money. Support. We'll leave her email address as well for those that want to write to her.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Lawyers, attorneys, advocates, if you want to write to her to help her with legal advices, we'll leave her email address here as well. And yeah, see you in the next episode. Bye.